All right, welcome to another episode of Tangential Thoughts Chat Show. I'm your chief, Jahar. I'm the Kim Dynasty and Spiritual Bandits. And it's dark outside, but I've always wanted to have a late night session. Now, in a dream sense, I would like to be beside a fire and have a late night fireside chat. So, we're just going to pretend that this is a late night fireside chat. I don't have nothing to talk about. I just wanted to, embrace that energy. One day, I'll be beside a fire and in the woods and having a smoke session. But until that day comes, we're doing what we can do, what we can. So I got some peach cobbler. And I gotta give a shout out to the bro. Cause he daggone. I said 2 ounces. He put it up there. This is a little more than 2 ounces. So thank you. Because I saw him put him in there and I saw him weigh it. And I thought he was going to put a little less. And he didn't. So, shout out to bro. Shout out to bro. He gave me more than I asked for. Ain't that something? If somebody gives you more than what you asked for, I had to say thank you. I said thank you for the tobacco. He said you paid for it. I said you waited. That was my way of letting him know, like, yeah, I know you gave me a little more, so I just want to say thank you. And so since he gave me a little more, I have a little more to play with. This not the lighter I want to use. I'm gonna use a cool lighter. I want to use my Zippo. Zippo, no hippo. Potamus. Artemis. So welcome to the late night smoke session. Cigar Talk Therapy. I said that's what this has become to me and for me. It's become my therapy. It's become my therapy. When things are getting too hectic, there's too much going on, I just sit, stay focused, and recenter. Ain't gotta have nobody with me. I can just sit, me and my thoughts, and let them come and go. You know, the things that I enjoy doing, some of the things you look back and is why do you like to do certain things? And for me, there were certain activities that I thought I enjoyed doing, but I think I enjoyed them because they gave me a chance and opportunity to think. So when I used to do art, art gave me a chance to think. When I ran, I used to run. Running gave me a chance to think. Playing chess, I play chess just for fun. I be trying to win sometimes, but I know it be throwing the chess people off because I'll do something so totally unexpected. You know, I'm just like, I mean, let me just do this. Let me see what happens. And I know they be thinking it's a strategy behind what I'm doing, but I'm just making moves. I'm just moving this piece right here just to see what you're gonna do, just to see what it makes you do and how you're gonna react and what you're gonna think. So I enjoy chess. I enjoy running. I enjoy art. I enjoy creating. Because you want to find an activity that will take your mind off of what's going on about the stresses and worries of the world. You want to find an activity that can take your mind off of it and not make you think about it. Or if it does give you the chance and it gives you the opportunity to think about it, I guess that's the way of it's a it's a slippery slope. But what if it's like a version of alchemy? And while you're thinking about the stress, worry, and whatever, you're channeling it into an activity. So you're constantly pulling, just for the sake of purpose here, that negativity into something creativity. This definitely needs more fluid. Well, we use the cool one. Let's go to the non-cool one. Well, I think this one's cooler than the green one. You know, this past year, these past 12 months, I really gave up on. I gave up on life and I gave up on people. Like I used to really try to, you know what I'm saying, at least acknowledge people's birthdays and try to shout them out and make sure to let them know, like bless you, like happy birthday, this and the third. You know what I'm saying? There's one day that you can hear from people, right, on your birthday. But I spent this past year not even trying, and and those people I just wasn't gonna say happy birthday to. Like I didn't say happy birthday to my mom. I'll acknowledge today though. I acknowledge today because I think my court case happened the day before my mom's birthday. And right after that is my sister's birthday. Right after that is my stepfather's birthday, all in August. And then somebody who actually invested into me and is very influential into my life still, um, their birthday was yesterday, and I didn't reach out. And then my friend birthday, one of my friends, I met her, and she, her birthday tomorrow. And I already made it in my head, like, I ain't gonna talk to her. And the reason we don't talk is, and you know how some like certain things be your fault. Like the only reason me and her not talking is my fault. Like I literally stopped talking to her. And the last message she had sent me, she was trying to see me, but I had deactivated my Instagram when she sent it. And then so when I reactivated it, I saw it a couple days later. I never responded. But her birthday's in a while, and she's a good person. She's a good person, you know. Or I would consider her from what I have, so what I actually know, and not what I presume to know. From, but she looked out for me. She looked out for me. She was dope. Um, when I ran out of gas, she came through, bought a gas can. We had to go back and forth to the gas station like 4 times just for my car to get started up and going. But she was there. She helped me. I could call her. I could depend on her at that time. So I want to wish her an early happy birthday. My younger sister. Now, my younger sister is another person. I at least acknowledged her birthday. I at least acknowledged her birthday. Her birthday was in February. I had no qualms against her, and not that it's not that I felt bad for her or anything. It was just that she was the youngest one, and she was the youngest one in the family, and she just kind of had to witness and watch certain things. And not for nothing, I know I could. I was able to really talk to her, and you just never know like the influence you have on certain people. But I told her that you know your last words to somebody. I made sure she knew that whatever's happening is on the third, that I always got love for her. I made sure she knew that. But I just can't be associated with the family anymore. Man, it was so cool. Even for her to, because she dabbled into art and doing poetry and spoken word. And then my other sister told me, like, yo, she does art because, what I'm saying, she looks up to you in certain ways, in certain aspects. And that wasn't the first time I heard that. There was this one girl I had a crush on in elementary school. And I mentioned this before. And what was crazy was we both grew up, we went separate ways. And then when I met her as an adult, it was crazy. She was like, I went into math because of her, and she went into art because of me. She studied graphic design and art in college because when we was in kindergarten and first grade, I used to draw all the time. It used to be me and her drawing and stuff. We always had a crush on each other. We never dated each other. And that joke was funny, bro. I remember I used to be so mad. I was so mad because me and her was like best friends, the best of, you know what I'm saying? And then this new boy came there. This new boy transferred to school, and then she started talking to him, and they got close. I think they started dating. I was like, man, ain't this some BS? And I got so jealous. But if I had known her the whole time, I could have been said something to her, been, you know what I'm saying, this other thing. But it was funny, cause now I used to draw a lot, and so, and this is why I also like winter fresh candy. She used to have those, she used to have the winter fresh mints. I used to love them things. And she used to always give me some. And so going down the line, we were like up. She, we both still loved them winter fresh mints. And just to find out that she went into art and graphic design. Now the reason I went into math because of her was because in first grade, she went up to the. We had just learned our times tables, and she went up to the board. She went up to the board to do. So we multiplying 7 times 8. She started multiplying 15 times 2, and the teacher let her come to the board and teach the class, and there was, and then I just remember we had took some math test or whatever. I got all the whole front page right, but then I finished it super fast. I turned the paper over and I started making up my own problems and putting all these big numbers to act like I'm multiplying them all together. And I got my teacher marked them all wrong. I got them all wrong. Like I didn't understand the whole process of multiplication at the time. Um, but it was because of her, man. I was always just so competitive. So, hey baby, I'm not sure if I can see that. Bye. So, meeting her later, she actually went into art, and I went into math, and it was so crazy the effect that we had on each other. And then you look back like, yo, should I have? Nah, because that's one of the things, right? There was this thing that says, what would you tell your younger self? And it was just so. I would tell my younger self to focus on art. I took so many breaks away from it. Like literally, after leaving high school, man, I think I drew like a couple pictures in college, but nothing crazy. And then it hit me this year. I was like, yo, I basically, well, up until I started painting on jean jackets, I started painting on jean jackets in 2017. But it was like, I remember watching this one video, and it was awesome. This, I think it was a girl. Yeah, I think it was a girl. But I'm gonna just say the artist. She had pictures. She just compared a picture, one picture every year. From the time she was, I'm sure it was less than 10. It might have been from the time, but it basically was like almost every year. So just think, maybe, I'm gonna just say like 4 or 5. Let's just say 5. She put a picture from every year from the age of 5 to 18. And you see the mastery. By the time she was 18, there's this one, so in art, they have this thing called, or it's a type of art called surrealism. 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 And it's basically hyperrealism, where the art looks so good that you can't even tell that it's not real. The only reason that you know that it's not real is because it's not moving. And you see, like, once you get to that point, now there are some who stay with it at that point. There are some people get the tamper. There's still all that in there, right? But all of that is gray, so we know we at least got through it. None of it's black. It just means we didn't smoke it. Now there are some people who stick to the servalism. And then there are some people who move to abstract art. Her junk, you could tell how she goes to the surrealism to the abstract. Like, and she, well, because I stopped there when she was like 18 or something. So, but there was like maybe somewhere between like 17, 18 as well, where she also dabbled with the abstract, like a combination of two, like abstract surrealism. And it was just like, wow. And I say all that to say just that sticking to something, sticking to, sticking to it for a lifetime. And that is, that's huge, man. When you stick to, and and let's just say it's one thing. If you stick to one thing for a lifetime, just imagine how good you'll be. But then there's also, you know, physically and mentally, right? Depending on what it is. For example, with basketball, they was like LeBron. They always talk about LeBron's peak, right? But there's a physical peak, but then there's a mental peak too. And it's like mentally, what if you combine that mental with the physical? But mentally, he got better over the years. Mentally, he got better over the years. Because all he did was accumulate more experience. But then you get to a point where, how am I trying to say this? Okay, let's say if you're taking the basketball, mentally you got it on lock. But now physically you're not able to do much as you used to be able to do. So then you're in this conundrum like, man, physically if I could do boom, 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 because mentally I got it on lock. because then things take a decline, mentally and physically. Things take a decline. Physically and mentally, things take a decline. So I think I can, if you kind of look at this, I just love the one guy's phrasing for it. He says something about that cherry flame, and you want to move it from the top of it, and it moves down into the bottom of it. That flame moves into the bottom, right there. What are you able to do? What are you able to do? And when are you at your prime? And do you know when you're at your prime? And when you're at your prime, are you maxing out? When you are at your physical and mental prime, are you doing as much as you possibly can? 'Cause at some point, your physical is going to take a decline, and then after that, your mental is going to take a decline. And again, lifelong craft. You know what the guy mentioned to me today? He said, I got better with my words in communication. How long does that take you? How long does it take you to learn how to effectively communicate what you're thinking and feeling? That's the point of frustration for kids, right? Kids get frustrated because I said there's one point, you know what I'm saying? There's a plenty of frustration, but one of the frustrations as a kid is just not being able to express yourself. Um, I guess that's a frustration for anybody in life. Not being able to express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. Because there are so many ways that you can express yourself. Some people don't want to use their words. Some people express themselves through dance. Some people express themselves through their clothing. You know what? I can't say this, but my shirt can say it. And what's the best way to express yourself? Different for each person. again, that's why I quit teaching. I quit teaching because it wasn't the best way to express myself. I was able to express part of me, but not all of me. I was able to express myself partially. And that's what, if we go back to the art, you can't say it in words. Can you have a picture? And they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Can you draw a picture? And then I got better. And then I got good at the art, and then I got good at expressing myself poetically with my words. And I published 7 books. The eighth book is a YouTube graffiti poetry book. My eighth book, people can't even buy. Well, unless I turn my eighth book into, you start getting paid through YouTube, and I can say, oh, my members get access to this book. And so that's been heavier on my mind lately about teaching. And I thought about it this morning on my walk. And somebody, they keep asking. I went to the old high school, the last high school I went to. You coming back? I was on the live. You going back to teaching? I said it's about progression, not regression. And I think it's been heavy because it's now April. May. May 25th, May 26th, whatever that is, was the last day I was a teacher in school, high school. I packed this one better. Yeah, I packed this one way better. And I was thinking about that. Hopefully this bowl not down, man. But like I said, two bowls is basically equivalent of a cigar. Cause I was thinking, how did I get into teaching? Like literally in high school, I remember being asked, "Do you want to be a teacher?" And I was like, "No." Didn't think twice about saying no. No, I'm not gonna be a teacher. So then I go to college. What are you gonna major in college? Well, I'm gonna major in the easiest subject for me. Put this back out. Oh man. Oh man. Good. I'd rather just get this off now. Because again, why put off something until and see, it's still some in there. It just didn't what you call it. I ain't gonna let that waste like that, no sir. Why put off what you can do today to tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes? Now the bad part in lightning with just that little bit in there is what when I watch this little segment of somebody else's cigar fight segment, they said that's how you burn your tongue. With the way the smoke comes through and things like that. I wasn't about to waste that, no sir. Well, I guess if it wasn't already burnt, I could just relit it and then try it again. But going into college, I chose math because that was the easiest subject for me. The easiest subject for me. And then that's how I got my scholarship too, because I was so gifted mathematically. And now in college, you know what I'm saying? Because you kind of see how I really do see how that first part set me up to be a teacher. Because I was tutoring. Now, people used to come to me for the tutoring and whatnot because in my scholarship program, my favorite professor, Dr. Musa Abizada, we called him Musavi for short. Musavi was intense. Musavi, I just feel like switching hats. not the all black. Musabi had some type of condition with his eyes. So it was like that. But he would lean back and he would talk like this. And I mean, he wouldn't yell. He talked real soft. And another professor broke it down. He said he talked soft. Why? So you gotta sit up and listen and pay attention. Cause you gotta listen. So he talked real soft. And he'd be like this. But he was so intense. His chalk broke every day. And his handwriting was so immaculate. He'd be like, and then a chalk would break and he'd be like, done. And we would laugh. But he was so intense. And people couldn't, but he was so in depth, people really couldn't follow. So that's where I stepped in. Because I understood what he was saying. And I understood the math. And so I was the middleman and I used to break it down for him. And that's why I was so good at tutoring. And that was my job. That's how I made money in college, through tutoring. Then my fraternity has an event called Shimmy Like a Newt. And it's a group of girls, and y'all pick some songs, and y'all do strolls to them and whatnot. It's a chance for the girls to, you know what I'm saying, stroll like the bros. And so I had my first Shimmy Like a Newt team. And this is where you go from, see, tutoring is one-on-one. Shimmy Like a Newt, I have a group. And then you start to realize this person has this personality, this person has a softer personality, they're loud, she's just like, then you gotta learn how to just manage people. It's like, yo, we all here for a goal. And that was my first time being up in front of a group. And they're girls too. And they're girls, so you can only imagine like the caddy or the drama or this and the third. And so this is all my senior year. And so then I realized just the difference from just being one-on-one. One-on-one, now the beauty in tutoring is I get to build relationships with people. One-on-one is just me and you in this room, me, you, and the math problem. And we just gonna hash it out. Ain't no frustration right here. It's just me and you. This is a chance for, you know what I'm saying, us to get better. And then I got the opportunity to be a teacher. So my scholarship program, we had to dress up on Wednesdays. And every Wednesday, the people would come in, and the majority of the people, the speakers, came to talk to the biology majors. They talked to the biology and chem majors. Some of the engineering. It's not a lot for the math. I major in math. And one time, I went through my whole scholarship program for 4 years. One time, the lady comes and says, is anybody interested in teaching? Thought about it. And I was like, you know what? Teaching allows me to do the two things I like most: talk to people and do math. And I was like, I'm applying. I applied for it. I went up there. Now, the interview process for the scholarship, well, the fellowship, is grad school opportunity. So it's a fellowship, not a scholarship. I get there, and you got to prepare a lesson. And so I'm practicing my lesson in front of my friends and things like that. And everybody thinks it's cool. And then I go to them, and this is the first time they hit me on. And it's on some stuff like, the way you kind of structured it and set it up, I didn't have any activities, but they knew I knew what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have any activities. And then this is when you start to learn. So one of my first issues I had with teaching was I just wanted the students to look at the board, look at the math, and they gonna notice everything else. You know what I'm saying? And so when I started teaching, I have a lot of pitfalls. Now, if you are somebody who's like smart and highly intelligent, then you don't spend a lot of time studying. You just, a lot of things come naturally and easily to you. And so for me, that's why I had to learn how to engage students in such a way that for the ones who is not easy to, how do you still make it fun and appealing? How do you bring the math to life? And I had so many struggles that some of the other people probably did go through, but I got called out for it. So in grad school, and one thing I like about my program taught us to be good on paper. And you don't see that side of teaching. The grading, the lesson planning, the unit planning, all of that, the planning, that was my Achilles heel. It wasn't the pedagogy. It wasn't how do I break this concept down and this. It wasn't that. It was the planning, and I knew that was my Achilles heel, and I learned it. You know what I'm saying? I've had my experience with that. So I'm trying to put this all together. As a teacher, I really did appreciate my student teaching year. I really appreciate my student teaching year. It highlighted those weaknesses for me. And one of my favorite quotes from teaching was, I'm gonna mess this up, but my it's something about your attitude and your mentality, how that controls. It is like your attitude and mentality affects the temperature of the room and the climate of the room. And as a teacher, you have to build a climate, a culture of productivity, mastery. I think those two. You got to build a culture of learning that's productive. So things like I hit on and pitfalls. When you're when I was student teaching, you got work for school. And I'm okay. You got classes. You're in college classes. So you have to do the work for that. You got you have to be a teacher. You're in transition to be a teacher, so you have to prep and plan for your lesson plans for school. And I remember just hearing their conversation, and they were like, "Yeah, the only time I make lesson plans is when I'm about to get observed. Whenever my mentor is about to come in and observe me, that's when I do my lesson plans." I started trying to do the same thing, and then they was like, "Yeah, I don't be reading all these passages. I just be skimming through them and answering the questions." I'm trying to do the same thing, and then it comes down to the point of somehow, some way, I forget what exactly happened, but then it came to a point of you need to turn your lesson plans in. You need to turn your lesson plans and unit plans in. So now it's like I'm being held accountable And other people are sliding past, but I'm being held accountable and I'm being watched and monitored to make sure that I'm doing unit plans and lesson plans. What used to frustrate me about the unit plans and lesson plans is timing. You could plan a whole lesson and maybe get through half of it or a part of it. And then that pushes it, the parts that you didn't get to do, gotta go to the next day. And then but that shifts everything back. And that's why I didn't like planning. I was like, it's because it's too fluid. I was like, yeah, I made a whole plan and things got pushed back. But then they say it's better to over plan than to under plan. You'd rather have the time completely overfilled than to have the time underfilled. Now y'all sitting there looking at each other bored and stuff. Da, da, da. So that was one of the things I had to learn. Filling the time. And I guess my first one of the lessons I would say to anybody who's interested in teaching, coming into teaching, is to over plan. You can do your best to divvy up the time. Now, what I will say, the lesson plans that we had to make in grad school were very thorough, and like looking back, I had to appreciate them because every segment of the lesson, there were four things that you had to address in every segment of the lesson. So in the intro, in the heart of it, and the summary, you had to address four things. You had to address differentiation. And differentiation could be as simple as, can they use a calculator? How is this person going to approach? How are you going to open up the activity so that more people can engage with the task? So you had to address differentiation. You had to address questions. What questions are you going to ask during the intro of your lesson, during the heart of your lesson, and at the end of your lesson? And then you had to address misconceptions. What are going to be some logical fallacies that students may have at this part of the lesson, this part of the lesson, and this part of the lesson? And then the last part was transition. How does the intro, how are you going to transition from here to here? What's the connection between these two? Why are you doing this? Oh, man. Alejandro Salazar. Alejandro, you have a question, I have an answer. And Alejandro, I want to say, I think I've told you plenty enough times that I, the reason that I appreciate you so much is because you give me hope and faith about, and whether you believe it or not, about perfection and a perfect son. Alejandro, I think you, I don't know if your mom, man, I just think that you are an example of a perfect son. And I hope that if, if I have kids one day, I hope they're as smart as you. I hope they're athletic as you are. I hope that they are, you know what I'm saying, physically, mentally, everything as you are, bro. You were like meeting you and seeing you gave me so much hope and to say like, man, if I had a son, I hope my son come out like this, Joe. You are just the epitome. Like you are a parent's dream. You know what I'm saying? You are a dream child, Alejandro. I will always. That's one thing I do appreciate about you, Alejandro. You you don't got to say it, but I think you are perfect, man. I think you are perfect. And then I also want to say I apologize to you. I was going through so much, and I just didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying, navigate whatever I was going through. And then I got to be a man, you know what I'm saying? I tried to tie you and David into my situation, and if I'm being honest, you know what I'm saying, I was like, man, they probably just talking about me. You know what I'm saying? They're like, nah, man, don't do that in the third. And I have to be honest, because I don't know if I'll ever see you again. So I just want to say that, I apologize for how I carried that. And, just the time I was in then, I'm coming out of it, but I still, what I'm saying, just trying to move and pivot in a certain way. Um, I was like, man, I just had to get away from everybody and everything, man. Had to just get away from everybody and everything. So I hope that you're good, man. It's good to hear that. Thank you for believing in me. So what's your question? What's your question? Alejandro has a question. That was somebody who challenged me to be a better person. Uh, Somebody who challenged me to be a better person. Um, my question is, do you believe that what you're doing, what you're going through is a part of your God plan? Going through is a part of God's plan. So what you're going through, is it a part of God's plan? But isn't that the beauty of life? That we don't know God's plan? And I like how the one guy said it. How bad is a mistake if you learn from the mistake? How bad is a mistake if you learn from the mistake? It's a pivot point. It's just a pivot point. So I can admit that I may have made some mistakes. If I look back on it, I think that I would have gave teaching one more year. I would have taught for one more year. Uh, However, I will say that again, I've published 7 books. I've done a ton of art. I've built. I've created, and I've been protected. And so, if you believe, if you believe in God, if you believe in God and His master plan, then you got to think that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. And so, what is this teaching me? What are it teaching me? Because no matter what, any goal that anybody has ever had, any dream that anybody has ever had, they can look back and say, I showed them that it's possible. That it's possible. I'm still alive, right? I'm still alive. So for everything I've been through, everything that went on, what happens? You get back up, the sun rises another day, and you keep going. And so, if anything, it's a testament to perseverance. It's a testament to passion. It's a testament to dedicating your life to your passion, your creative passion and pursuit. And if I would have died this time last year, the only thing people would be, everybody would have got up and said, what? He was a great math teacher. If I was to die today, they're going to have to say, what? He published 7 books. He had over 900 YouTube videos. He was with his dog. He learned to live out his car. He learned how to fish. He learned how to crochet. He learned how to make clothes. He started screen printing. He created his own screen printing business. He did what it is like what it and that's in just in a 12-month span. In a 12-month span, it hasn't even been an official 12 months yet. Hasn't even been official 12 months. Next month will make a year that I left teaching. And what have I done since then? And there's evidence for it all. I have a podcast. I have a podcast now. I do. I have poetry. They can. So now it's like, what do you have to say? What has to go on my? If you got a resume, what has to go on my life resume? Man, he was a poet. He was an actor. He was an artist. He was a content creator. He was a creator. He was all of these things. If you only just talk about the past 12 months and nothing before that, what do you have to say? And that's what I can say. I can say that. I can say I built a I got a four-wheeler hand truck. I put two pieces of wood in that, I put my stuff in that, and I pulled it around. It's crazy to say, but I admire that because it's what you said. You must give up everything and pursue God so you can be reborn. I believe in you because I know everything you do will be worth it. And it's like if you planting seeds, what seeds are you planting? And they say if you have to look at if you have to look at 5 years from now, your future is predicated on what you do now. And even though I don't talk to my aunt no more, one thing she said, everything that you do now, what you say and do now determines where you want to live and where you have to live. How you want to live and how you have to live. And then broke it down, and I had the conversation with this one guy. And he was a Black Panther, and he was so hurt that his kids couldn't go to a better school because 10 years earlier he had stole a car and he had a felony, and no, he couldn't live in a neighborhood because he had a felony on his record, and now his children can't go to a better school because of something he did 10 years ago. And that's saying what you do now determines how you have to live and how you want to live. His children have to go to a certain school and he has to live over here. But he wants to live here and he wants his children to go over here, but they can't because of something he did. And so 5 years from now, I'm going to be living off of the actions and decisions that I made within the past year. It's a quote. It says, not even a quote. Some people are living off their decisions they made at 18. At 18, they decided to do this and they stuck with it for another 30 years. So from 18 to 48, they lived off the same decision that they made where they were 18. And they're not the same person anymore. And you shouldn't be the same person that you were at 18. So why are you still living as if based off your 18-year-old self decisions? I went to college at 18. Why would I spend the rest of my life based off a decision I made at 18? And they say what? You don't die until you're some people die at the age of 18 and they're not buried until they're 70. Some people die at the age of 18, but they're not buried until they're 70. That's the quote. Are you living to die or dying to live? They say there gotta be more to life. Is that all life is? Is life for you to come here and you really gotta sit there and think about that. And that's why David has that book. But you gotta live. You gotta sit there and you gotta realize that you gonna die one day. You are going to die. And that's a certainty. That's one that's one guarantee everybody gets in life. You are certainly going to die. And before you die, what would you like to do? And all you hear, if you ever watch the interviews of old people, all they sit there and say is, there were things I didn't say and there were things I didn't do that I wish I did. So is that how you want to die? Do you want to die saying there's things I wish I would have said and did? And so then that means what? Did you ever fulfill your God-given purpose? Did you ever fulfill your God-given purpose if you die not doing everything that you could have said and done? Yeah, and I'll use it. And my pastor, first lady, she gave me a book just so I could read about Jesus. And if you read it, you'll be surprised that the things it says. And these are Jesus quotes. He says, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. He says, I wish it was already burning. And that's in the Bible. And that's a Jesus quote. I said, why did Jesus lie? He told the disciples to go ahead. I'm not coming right now. I said, why did he lie? He said, he just didn't want to go with them. He sent them ahead of him. Why? Why would you do that? Jesus spent a lot of time trying to get away. He said, they said, your mother and your brother's outside looking for you. He said, that ain't my mother, that ain't my brother, that ain't my family. Cause they trying to persecute me. So anybody trying to persecute me, that ain't them. That ain't family. If I'm on the side of the road and somebody walk past me, that ain't family. But the one who sat next to me and said what and gave me that bottle of water and helped me at that time when they saw me on the side of the road, that's family. He said, pick up your stuff and follow me. So they said, oh, I gotta go do this. Never mind. You need to be able to drop that and follow me. The guy said, he said, drop what you're doing and follow me. The guy said, I gotta bury my father. He said, never mind. I read. I sat there and read. It say, trust no man. That's a Bible quote. It says, guard your heart. That's a Bible quote. Sat there and read it. You know what made me mad when I read the Bible? When they beheaded John the Baptist. John came down. John was eating locusts. John was dressed in weeds. John lived a very basic life. And they beheaded John. You know why they beheaded John? Because John looked at the king and he told the queen, yo, you was married to this man. Why you messing with him? The queen didn't like that. It come down to the girl birthday. She dancing. And they say, what you want for your birthday? She don't know what she want for her birthday. So she go ask the queen. The queen says, bring me John's head on a plate. I said, are you serious? They killed John the Baptist. And the king didn't even want to do it. Because the king liked listening to him. The king knew John was right. And they killed John. And I got upset. And then Jesus said, John lived a low life. And look how y'all did him. They said, why you eating with the sinners? He said, the healthy people are already healthy. I came to sit with the sinners. I came to eat with the sinners. These the ones that need help. The ones who are unhealthy. You know what the Bible also say? You can eat whatever you want to eat. You got all these people talking about they don't eat pork, they can't eat pig, they don't want to eat this. Jesus said, pig ain't what's making you want to kill somebody, cheat on somebody, lie to somebody, steal from somebody. Food don't make you want to do that type of stuff. Food goes into your mouth and it go to your stomach. It don't go to your head. So that way, he said that you can eat whatever you want to eat. But they're going to try to say, I'm pescatarian, I'm vegetarian, I'm this, that, and the third. Food don't make you sin. And that's what the Bible says. They want me to read certain things, and then when you read it, you be like, this is what it say. Why are we disputing what it says? If it's truth. And then you hear everybody else's stuff. We wasn't living at that time. And so everybody has a different story of the same story. You got Noah's story. They say every religion talks about what? A great flood. They was all in different parts of the world at the same time, but they experienced, everybody in the world experienced a flood. That's why every religion talks about it. Something happened, right? So I said, the disciples are to Jesus what religion is to the truth. How you got all the disciples telling the same story about one person and it's different accounts. You got all these religions telling the same story about the earth at the same time in different accounts. And people get to thinking that they better. The boy hopped on the joint and said he Muslim. So what? Why did you need to feel to mention that? Now, in mentioning that though, one of the questions is, I had a very good question. I said, and this is when I was young, I want to speak the same language as God. I want to speak God's language. Thank you for the lights. Thank you for the lights. I want to speak God's language. Does God understand what I'm saying? Does God understand me? So you look up what language did Jesus speak? Because this is during the time of the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians. And Jesus spoke Aramaic. Now, if you look up Aramaic words, because I want to know what, because even in the Bible, right? They say God never lost, but he wrestled against Jacob and lost somehow. Jacob said, tell me your name. God says, don't worry about that. I'm going to call you Israel. But look up Jesus' last words. And you gotta read the different parts to say what was Jesus' last words. Allah, Allah, sabachthani. My God, why have you betrayed me and forsaken me? Those are his last words. They just spell it differently. It's Eli, Allah. But that sounds like the Muslims saying Allah. They remixed it. And he spoke in parables. He gave little short stories and people just couldn't understand them. And what do you always constantly see as a reoccurring thing? He'll say something to the crowd and then get back to the disciples, and the disciple says, "What did you mean by this?" The disciples constantly ask him, "What did you mean when you said this? What did you mean when you said that?" So there's a very you just have to understand. You got to take it that maybe he was up here with it. He constantly has to even break it down to the disciples. The disciples don't even understand. So you got a group of people following him around, and they still don't understand. May God bless you. And they say that's one of the biggest that's a power that we have, blessing. But we only say bless you when somebody sneezes. So bless you. Because they say you'll be judged by your words. And that's in the Bible too. So bless you. But thank you. I'll say thank you. Thank you. Getting even just and that's something I've been intentional about for throughout my days. Is just moving around and just throwing out that compliment so people say thank you and so they are grateful just because in a little moment, in a big moment, being able to say thank you. They watch Elvis. What does Elvis do? What do you know Elvis for saying so much? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just being grateful and thankful. Like, how often are we just thankful? So, I appreciate you, man. And I hope that when you go to sleep tonight, you think about that same question you asked me. It's what you're going through a part of God's plan. I gotta be. Gotta be. Gotta be a part of God's plan. All right, so that was a nice segue. All right, now back to the teacher. So, like I was saying, my fellowship program did a very good job of us lesson planning on paper. They made it very good on paper. You had to address all four of those things in every part of your lesson. What questions are you going to ask? How are you going to differentiate? What are some misconceptions students might have? And how are you going to transition from this part to the next? Even you even had to do that with the summary. Why? How does this lesson connect to the next lesson? Now, my student teaching year, I started teaching in Jersey, in Trenton, at the ninth grade academy. That should tell you something right there. It's a ninth grade academy, and it's a separate building from the high school, but it's a part of the high school. But they felt like they had to separate the freshmen before they transition on into the high school. Now, there are a few students who, and this is like for the rest of my teaching, they kind of like not They altered the way I teach and approach school. So one boy couldn't really get through to him. He would walk out of class. He would just do whatever he wanted to do. He would just do whatever. At the end of the year, I sat beside him and I asked him why. I said, why did you never listen to me and just do whatever you wanted to do? His response, and I don't get mad at this, I just take it. He said, I don't know you. He said, I don't know you. I said, who do you know? Who do you listen to? He said, my mom, my mother. So every year after, that's my student teaching year. So every year, you know how I start the year? First day, who are you? Tell me your name. Tell me your nickname. Do you like to go by something else? Do you like to go by something else different? What do you like to do? What do you do when you get bored? What makes you you? Do you have any pet peeves? Is there anything that annoys you? I would ask this on the first day. We go around the room, and it comes back to me. Always got at the end of the someone. Usually, this only happened. There's only been like maybe like one a couple times where it actually did happen. But usually, somebody says, "Well, you got to go, Mr. Head. What about you?" But that's the whole point of it, right? Because they got to know me too. We got to get some stuff straight. Like if we gonna be in this classroom every day, day in, day out, we got to know who's in the room. And that just put it in a space so that, and you would see it too. Because this is gonna be my next thing as for anybody who's going into teaching or think wants to think about it. At the end of the year, when it get close to the end of the year, I don't have to say much or do much. My students can impersonate me. My students know what I'm about to say. They know what I do and don't like, what snacks I like, all of that, because they know me. And so, one of the things I think I'm saying them, I'm probably clarify it. But one of the pieces of advice I would say to anybody going into teaching is be you as a teacher. I remember once one piece would say it said be you, but I would say be you as a teacher. Because another student teaching year, I think I told this story before, but now I had issues with my first mentor teacher, so I switched to another one. But setup's still supposed to be the same. Whether you call it a do now or warm up, whatever you call it, it's like this intro problem that you're supposed to start on when the students come in. So, good 5 to 10, whatever, how long it was, I'm not sure how long it is, but there's one student, he comes in and he sit down, he start talking to his friend, and then I don't say nothing to him. I just like I keep watching. And after a while, I come up to him. I say, every day we come in, it's a problem on the board that you're supposed to start. You're supposed to come in, take your notebook and pencil out, start the problem at the book. I say, this time that went past, you still haven't started it. I said, why? Bailey! Bailey! Come here, babe. Come here. Oh my goodness. What you was looking, man? What you was looking, man? Come here. Come here, Bailey. Come here. Come here. Anyway, he says to me, man, hold up real quick, man. Bailey, please tell me. Hey, boy. Dang, boy. I pray Bailey is okay. Hold on, man. I gotta see something real quick. Bro. I pray for Bailey. She always getting into something. And that's not even something you can Google, bro. Oh my gosh. So it says 15 minutes. We're going to see Bailey stays alive for the next 15 minutes. If Bailey stays alive for the next 15 minutes, she's a miracle dog. She may throw up. I guess, as an aside, right? As good as I am, or as I thought I was with my dog, it's been happening, and I guess, never learn your lesson, right? So I guess as an aside, always make sure that you watch your dog. Make sure your dog stays within your line of sight. So I just let Bailey get out of my line of sight, and then I finally decide to say, "Hey, come back, baby." I think there's a puddle of water that had cigarettes in it, and I go up and I see that it is a little splash around it, and I think she got into the cigarette water. I didn't think you could even Google that. I did Google it. Bad joke, bad timing. They said anything that you're going through, somebody went through on Reddit 8 years ago. Bailey just drank cigarette water. After Googling it, now they say sometimes you Google your symptoms and WebMD says you have 10 minutes to live. That's what this junk just said. I just Googled what happened to Bailey and it said she has 15 minutes. She may vomit. That's all right. You know you gotta take accountability for certain things and you gotta be able to say, it was my fault. For right now, she's alive. For right now, she's alive. Now she's not moving. Now she's just sitting here. She isn't. She knows. Come here, babe. Come here. I love you. I love you. I told you to give me 10 years, not 4. I told you to give me 10 years, not 4. And this just reminds me of a time when my dogs were taken from me, and I wasn't sure of what my last words to my dogs were. Because I didn't know that was my last time seeing my dogs. And I remember I told the dude the other day, I didn't know that was my last time seeing you. never know when's the last time you're gonna see somebody. So I hope that just now I'll be able to at least be able to say I told her I love her. So back to the story. Hey, shit. I love you. I love you. But back to teaching. So the boy, he never really gets started on the do not problem. And I asked him why. And this was his reply. He said, I was waiting on you to tell me good morning and to tell me to take out my paper and pencil and start to do that. And I wasn't mad at him. Because you know what I did every day as a teacher from then on? I made sure that I said good morning, take out your notebooks and your pencils and start to do that. Start the warm up. I made sure that because of that one interaction, I told him that. And when I told him that, because later he was like, bro, he was like, I was a freshman. I was just probably just being sarcastic and just trying to say something smart and rude, just and the third, da da da. But it helped me become a better teacher. So, another piece of advice for a teacher: greet your class every day, but do it in your way. And so for me, it was so funny. I would get to the front of the room, and they already know. This is funny, but the boys be like, "Good morning, good morning. Go ahead and take out your notebooks." Da, da, da. They would say it for me, bro. They would say it for me because they knew how I was going to greet them, what I was about to say, and so that leads into like another part of it, as far as routine and instruction for your students. Your students should know that this is how class runs. And it's not the same thing every day, but there's an order to how things are. It's a yes. You know what I'm saying? Because it got to a point where if there was no do now warm up at the board, they would ask, where is the do now? Where's the warm up? They came to expect that. Where's the do now? Where's the warm up? They came to expect it. And it's an expectation because that's the routine. And then, what are we doing for today? You know what I'm saying? They should kind of know, like, okay, it's going to be a this, it's going to be a this, and then we won't. You know what I'm saying? They should kind of know how the day is structured and set up. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because they get to learn you, they get to learn the routine, and that helps build familiarity, comfortability, all of that. So, set up a structure and a routine. And it's not that you're doing the same things every day, but a lot of the days might be the same thing. So my last year teaching, it was you got your do not warm up, and they knew go on and take your laptop out too. We got laptops. We about to go on Desmos. What's the Desmos for today? Where's the Desmos at? Where, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. All of that. So we used to do. We used to do. Do the warm up, da da da, boom, boom, boom. Desmos. You know, on Desmos, and then parts of the Desmos would be like, all right, make sure these first few parts was for the lesson. This is where we're getting our notes from. Then these last few parts is practicing. And sometimes you just throw the practice in there. All right, we just did these a couple together. I want you to do these. on your own. Now let's get back to it. I'm gonna give you some time to do these on your own. Now let's get back to the top, but we won't cover a little more, and then do 'em. Now, I like Desmo actually really helped me to keep track of my planning and things because now it's like I know exactly what we did on any day, and you know what I'm saying. So part of also in the school system, we had to have e-class. So part of the class somebody should be able to walk in and know you should be able to say what you did on any given day, what you cover, how far did you get. And Desmos allowed me to definitely do that. As I'm gonna encourage anybody who's teaching math, you got to use Desmos, bro. I mean, well, I'm not gonna say anybody, but algebra, geometry, I think was like it was a little bit different. They had to do you got to do more. Geometry gets more physical because you're gonna need to know. I mean, but when you see those tests you had to learn how to use a protractor and things digitally, not you know what I'm saying, boom. But again, and bro, it was weird, bro. The testing got to a point of the students had to look at the marks that they had to look at a picture and look at the marks and say, this person is trying to draw two parallel lines. This person is trying to construct a circle or a perfect equilateral triangle. They had to look at the marks and know what the person was doing. It got it got like that. It got like that. But that was one student. That was another student. I just had a couple students who really just their conversation, just that one conversation, kind of just changed the way how I did things. And and then even like teaching freshmen. Remember, freshmen they coming straight off of high school, or they coming straight out of middle school, and from being working their way up the ladder in the society, the societal ladder, they go from sixth grade to eighth grade and back at. So it's like elementary school, you go from pre-K to fifth grade, and once you're in fifth grade, you big dog. Then you go back to being a little dog in sixth grade. Sixth grade to eighth grade, you finally back at the top, and then now it's another reset. You back at the bottom of the jump. And so that was another thing about being with the freshman, the ninth grade academy not being attached to the high school, there was no older kids to humble them and make them let them know like you a freshman, yo, like this ain't a third one. So well, it's 111 minutes. I guess we got about 4 more minutes until we should see Big either throwing up or something. I'm hoping that John was just diluted by rainwater and some stuff. It has been raining a couple of days. I don't know. It's still out. So what else? But I think I kind of just how I got into teaching. Just how I got into my student teaching year. That was tough. Because again, yeah, even while teaching, because again, it's what has everything you know what I'm saying prepared you for and to do. And so they used to just challenge me to do certain things. And so they had this idea of a flipped classroom. So what a flipped classroom was supposed to be was it's supposed to allow the students more time to practice and develop mastery in class. So it's supposed to be like go home, do the homework, get introduced to it, watch these videos on the website, and then I think about watch these videos, get introduced to it on the website, and then we come into class, we can just practice. And so I used to do the videos. It was cool too. Even then, the way I did my videos, they still on here. They still, those are my first YouTube. No, they're not my first YouTube videos. If you watch the YouTube videos, it has from when I was in college. It's just some frat videos, but then you see like my first playlists and stuff. were from school, and I used to make the little. I used to do the animation. I try to do animations for my videos, and man, I gotta share some of those. And so the flip classroom. Even then, this was so my seventh year of teaching. I wasn't using this anymore. I only used it while I was in Jersey. So that's my what? No, 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 no. I didn't use my first year. My second, black Lamborghini, soft top white Jeep Wrangler. First year teaching, did I use it? And now it's my second year teaching. Second year teaching, I had a Weebly website, and I put the videos up there. It's still up there. Like you can still check out my Weebly website. I still got the student projects I used to do, and I still got the student projects I used to do, and just practice exams and tests, and all that stuff is still on Weebly. But even then, my students would come in and say, "We going to the Weebly website," and so um, look at this little thing. Oh, it's a couple of them. It's a couple of them. So they know me from my Weebly website, and all their stuff is still up there. All the good projects is on my Weebly website. All the stuff I used to do when I second teacher. But I still have a lot, all my videos, and I still have those playlists of when I used to teach and the teaching playlists and whatnot. So, thank you, thank you. So, I used to do that, and oh yeah, I just want to say things that teaching has kind of prepared. So even when I was teaching, they used to want me to make videos and stuff. And I used to do a little cartoon and make little animations and do that. And I guess shout out to one of my exes. She had got me an iPad. Now the thing about the iPad was it was an older iPad, so the animations didn't look as good as I wanted it to look. But now, if I was to like redo it now, I gotta look at what that app was. There was an app I used to use, but I could definitely animate it. Ooh, shoot. Mm. I gotta play with it. I gotta play with that. I used to draw. I was making a. I would do an animation for the intro, and then it would transition to me actually teaching. So that's mad cool. That's mad cool. So I gotta look back in the animation, but that's how I used to set up my videos, and I started to implement certain things that I had in high school. Thank you for engaging on the poll. There were certain things that I used to do in high school that I didn't see present. And so I was like, yo, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And so my first year, man, my first year, I had a talent show. I had a talent show my first year. And they was like, yeah, people always talk about it, but nobody actually does it. I held auditions. And then I went to the principal. I was like, "Yeah, we about to have a talent show." He said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! We gotta sell tickets. We need security. We gotta do this on the third." So I think my first year, I had a talent show, and I also, um, I got the students to. If it wasn't, yeah, 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 this was my first year too. So on Valentine's Day, I think they probably still do. I don't know, but on Valentine's Day, I remember when I was in high school, you could buy a bag of candy and it would get delivered to the person in class. And so I set it up in school. I was like, all right, sell it during the lunches, get that person's, you know what I'm saying, whatever block it was, and that's when we're going to deliver all their stuff. And you know, that's cool because then the students like, well, they, the boyfriends and girlfriends, if you got a crush, you know what I'm saying, and you send them, you know what I'm saying, this and the third, so they can have a note attached to it and whatnot. So we used to do that, and I just remember even then, just doing that, the things that we went through for that, it was so cool because I had them. They came with me because at some point we was making all the bags and stuff, and we ran out of candy. But even them just watching the hustle and saying like, because remember it was because mind you, it's getting close to Valentine's Day, so stuff gonna sell out, especially the candy. And so I just remember I forget what was so important about it, but I just remember, and they in the car with me. Now, mind you, this is something that you're not supposed to have, you know what I'm saying, students in the car and this and the third. I think there's negligence laws and all that and the third. We was driving from Walmart to Dollar Tree and this and the third just for I think just for some whatever we had to do for the fill the bags. And it was like, yo, Mr. Hell, we was in school until like 6 or 7, just making sure all the bags, all the orders was done. And so that was cool, but it's good because I just remember one of them saying like yo, how determined I was to like make sure we got all this stuff, and that day just going from one place to the next. So we literally hop up from Walmart to Dollar Tree to get stuff done. Then, um, so I had a talent show. We did student council. I started the student council there as well, and even so, yeah, we had student council that first year, cause the next year when we did it, I had them making videos and they had to vote for. They had to make a video like, "Oh, you running for which position?" And people actually had to vote, and we had the whole school voting on the elections. I had the students make an intro video and say who you are, and what position you're running for, and then we had the elections and whatnot. So I ran student council, and my biggest thing I remember in my second year, I took my students to Six Flags. Now, as a teacher, things that you want to do as a teacher, you want to take your students on a field trip. And so, Six Flags, I'm not sure if they still do it because I'm not in that realm of area. I know they were doing it. They might still do it. Six Flags has a physics day, and I'll be honest. I wanted, kind of, sort of, not really. I wanted my students to participate in physics day. Like they had a competition. It's an egg drop competition. And but I think the only reason we didn't like truly actually really try to commit to the egg drop competition was because we found out about it late. And so it would have been too because you gotta I think to enter into the egg drop competition, you had to have registered at a certain time. So I think we just missed that time to register. Bailey, come here, come here, man, Bailey. All right, so she last past 20, the 15-minute mark that they was talking about, so she didn't die, and she ain't whimpering or nothing. So it was talking about muscle paralysis, whatever, kidney failure, and everything else. Bailey be putting me through it, bro. Just cause she just be getting into stuff, and it's like if she get anything, it's my fault because I should have been watching her. But I just wanted my students to get there. I just wanted my students to get there, and man, we got the Six Flags, and I said, just meet me back here at 4:30. I said, y'all go have fun, yo. Go have fun. And that was so cool because the students, you know, you can go to an amusement park with your family, or you can go there with your friends. You're gonna be two different people. So, and it was cool because a couple on right, one boy, he had never been. So his first time going to Six Flags is with his friends, and they having so much broke fun. And it's like at the end, I got to look back at their videos and stuff like that, and they were showing me, and they was putting their money together to get, they was putting together to get some chili cheese fries. They said, "Well, I got a couple dollars, you got a couple dollars." You know, at a amusement park, the food expensive. They put their money together and just got some chili cheese fries and just ate the fries. They was getting on the, you know what I'm saying? Because all the girls ain't gonna be on the roller coasters, and then so some of them they on the merry-go-round, just having fun, yo, just having fun. And that was my second year teaching. We did my other stuff too. Oh, we used to so Kahoot. We used to do the Kahoot challenges, and we used to put. I'd be like, nah, man, we gonna do my class versus. At the time was my neighbor teacher. Shout out to her. She was mad cool. She was mad cool. She always been cool, bro. She always been cool. Man. All the kids used to have crushes on her, but we had it set up like when you talk when I say a culture, we had a culture and it was strong and it was so crazy. Not even that crazy, but it low key kind of is though, right? Because we taught algebra. So my third year, I taught at the ninth grade academy for the first 2 years. My third year, I taught at the School of Communications and I taught geometry. So the kids from my second year of teaching, I had some of the kids from my class and her class. And then they was all in my one geometry class. And then they was like, yo, it was funny because they was like, yo, I literally didn't talk to this person because they was in her class. Like our class used to beef and it was strong, but and it was competitive, and that was like the thing about it. The culture was so strong that my students would beef with her students just because they had names for I don't know what they called the people in my class, but they called the people in her class a certain name. Hey yo, babe, come here. Yeah, yeah, you lose your privileges after that, boy. Yeah, you might as well get comfortable right over here. So that was just funny, man. That was funny. We had it was competitive. But we used to have math competitions, and it was so crazy. We actually had trophies. We actually had trophies. And remember, we got block classes, so it was a trophy for this block, and this block. And boy, I don't know where those trophies is at. That would be fire just to have one of them trophies. I think she got all the trophies. I might have to reach out to her one day just to say, "Yo, you still got them trophies?" Matter of fact, I think when I last saw her, I think she did. I think I remember seeing her classroom, and she was like, "Yeah, I still got the trophy sitting over there in the corners over there." Dad jump. Our class used to be like, boom. And so that's my second year. Now, I went hard my first 2 years, and so that was another thing about me because it's talking about teacher burnout. Now, that was one thing I was mentioning about the transition from students being going from fifth grade and then eighth grade and then back being in ninth grade. Now, the ninth grade academy, since they're coming off the eighth grade, that middle school mentality, there was this one thing I used to do. Now, I think they call it some type of call to attention, whatever it is. But I used to say, I had my thing. So if I needed everybody's attention at one time, I would say all eyes, and they say on you. And I say, at that point in time, I need your mouth shut, your eyes on me, and your ears open. And I do it on the first day. I like, let's practice. All eyes on you. All eyes on you. And so I just had them trained, bro. I just had them trained. And so that's something that it works more so for like the freshman teachers or something like that. I definitely need it for me in a freshman academy. But for 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you don't need to be doing all that. So, but, and there's other ways to do it. So, because I think in the elementary sense, they'd be like, ready to rock, and it seems like rock and roll, and da da da. Like some people do a whole little jig and dance at that. High school, I just said all eyes. And that's when I said, I need your attention. I would say, all eyes on you. All eyes on you. I should have to say it more than twice. First time, a couple people catch it. Second time, people who missed out on the first time was like, oh shoot, all right, you know what I'm saying, boom, on you. So, no more than 2 or 3 times. I have to say. Now, I went hard my first 2 years. I used to be in there rapping. I make a rapping just one in the beginning, and then when it comes down to factor was my favorite part of algebra. Now the reason factor was my favorite part of algebra was because I used to, not used to. There was one time I forget. I don't even know what I got in trouble for. I had Saturday detention, so I'm in the Saturday detention, and I'm doing my factoring homework, and this is when I had to figure out, like, man, this is when I got really good at factoring, trying to figure out what numbers multiply to this number and add up to the middle number. And so that was fun to me trying to figure all that out. I spent a Saturday detention doing that. So when factoring came around, I used to do my factoring raps. Then, so but when it came to my third year I was like, yo, I'm trying to chill. I ain't trying to yell. I ain't trying to turn up. And they used, every once in a while they're like, yo, man, why you just be turning up? I'm like, yeah, I ain't with all that. My second year teaching, I went to DR. And I came back and told my students what I did. I said, yeah, I was in DR. Da, 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 da. My third year teaching, on my birthday, I know I went to Canada. I've only had one birthday party in my life. I've only had one birthday party in my life. And my students threw me a birthday party. So this is my third year. Third year teaching my geometry class. And I had an honors class. So it was my first time having an honors class. I only had one section. I had one section, honors geometry. And they threw me a surprise birthday party. This is how they got me. So I was big on, you know what I'm saying? If my class not for you, fine. Let's get your schedule changed to put you in a better situation so we can get somebody else in here who wants to be in here. Because people really wanted to be in my class. And I would tell a student just like that. You don't want to be here, there's a list of people who want to be in here. And so that's one thing I used to like about Jersey, and having disciplinarians and the counselors. They was on our side, you know what I'm saying, with everything, just to make it work and making sure everybody was in a position to succeed. And so I forget how exactly it went, but it was like, yo, you gotta go down to this office or whatever. So I go down to the, I think I was in the counselor office talking to them about some student or something. I come back upstairs. Surprise! And they had empanadas and cake and chips and cooking juice. They had everything. Everything. That the only birthday party I ever had. And so that was my third year teaching. Third year. Now, I wanted to take them to geometry. I mean, to Six Flags. And I technically could and should and this and the third. I didn't know, because one of the things you gotta do is like they'll supply this transportation. You just gotta tell them you gotta put the application in for a field trip. And I did not know that my field trip got approved. I didn't know my field trip got approved. So I remember one day they came in, they said, "Hey, there's a bus here to take the students to Six Flags," and I was like, "I didn't know." But you're supposed to check the board minutes to see if and when they did get approved. I just didn't know. So I technically could have sent my students to Six Flags again. So, third year. Now, this fellowship program, thank you for voting and engaging on the poll. No topic of conversation. Just chilling like a villain board smoke session. So, my my fellowship program, the contract said you have to get your master's in 1 year and then you have to teach for 3 years. I did that. So, after I taught for 3 years in Jersey, I said I want to move. Where are you going to move to? And remember, when the bird leaves the nest, the gift of flight goes with it. Wherever the bird goes, the bird knows how to fly. So wherever I go, I know how to teach. It doesn't matter if it's over here or it's over there. I can do it anywhere. So I come to Georgia. I come to Georgia. Now, when I get to teaching in Georgia, the first high school I'm at got the boys and the girls separated. So now, I got a group of freshman boys in every class. What do you think happens? You get to teaching freshman boys. As soon as you turn around, somebody got smacked. As soon as you turn around, somebody threw a pencil. Somebody threw a. As soon as you turn around, something happened, boy. So you got to teach like this, facing them, like, "Yo, what's going on, yo?" And they hyped up, amped up when we in Georgia. So it's a majority of black, all black at that. I'm gonna just say, yeah, majority black. Let's say 87.9 or just 90% or more black, right? Everybody amped up and just as boys that are getting into this stuff. I'm asking the one girl now because it was me, the teacher next to me. She had all the girls, all the freshman girls, and so because you gotta understand, like when it comes out in like in a classroom setting, girls are better. So this is just conversational purposes. This is just from what I've heard, seen, read, whatever. Girls are better at classwork and homework. Boys are better at tests. Bailey. Boys are better at tests. No, come here, man. Mm-mm. Boys are better at tests. So she's saying here, well, the girls do end up, since they're better at the classwork and homework, they're going to, you know what I'm saying, do well on the test. I'm just saying in conversation, general purposes, whatever. Because how you going to do well on the test if you ain't been da 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 boom boom? I say that to say her classroom management is going to be different from my classroom management. But them boys had me in there yelling every day. So mind you, I just came off my third year where I'm like, I'm trying to chill. I come in this joint, I'm yelling every day. When I remember the boys was just on some stuff like, yo, let the man teach. Y'all messing up his lesson. And it was so cool because they even like reached out to me afterwards because I ended up leaving. Now in Georgia, I think Georgia is a right to work state. Whatever the setup is, how they phrased it. They said you got 90 days. Within those first 90 days, they either can let you go or you can leave. I said, I'm leaving. I'm not about to spend a year in this. So I switched schools. Now the next now, even with them, right? So things you start to notice. Now, mind you, in Jersey, my my second year teaching, I had started teaching night classes at the community college. Now, in the high school, you gotta have the essential question on the board. You gotta put the date, the essential question, and the unit, and the standards address, and all that stuff. In college, you don't do none of that. You just get up there and just start your thing. Now, if there's one thing I would go back to doing, I would be a professor. I would be a professor. Teaching on elementary, middle, high, yeah, I could do it. But if I had a preference, I'll go back to being a professor. Because being a professor was what I always wanted the teaching to be anyway. Where they're not so much looking at me and what I'm doing. They the content. Cause now what? They paying for their school. They paying for their education. So we focus on whatever you writing on this board and making sure that we're prepared and doing well on our stuff. They paying for it. It's their money. So I was saying that to say this. The first school that I was at, there was a lot of micromanaging. Remember, I told you back in my whatchamacallit, I can lesson plan. I got good at lesson planning. But then that was I told you that was my Achilles heel. Then it came down when I got to this first school in Georgia, it was back to we're doing lesson plans together. We're making sure that da 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 boom boom and we're all doing the same thing. Da da da. I'm like, oh my goodness. I get to the next one. We're coming together and we're to talk about, hey, where are we all at? Where are we going? It was just a little bit different. And the lesson plan, you need to make sure that your e class was updated, but you didn't have to be so far as like typing on the paper and turning those in, you gonna have to turn in your lesson plans and stuff like that. But yeah, but when they come to check on your e-class page, they should be looking at and say, oh, he covered these. This was a central question. This was the unit. This was the standards, and it was on your e-class page. So I don't know. It just felt a little different. When I first got down here, it was here's your card. We actually had to punch in as a teacher. You had to actually clock in as a teacher when I first got to Georgia, and you only get no. When I switched schools, so it was so when I first started teaching, it was we got paid on the 15th and the 30th. Then when I came down here, that was still the case. And then when I switched to the school again, they got paid once a month at the end of the month. So that became a thing. Because I got used to saying, okay, this first check is going towards these bills, this next check is going towards these bills. I knew how to just on the third. Then when it came down to getting paid once a month at the end of the month, it was like, oh, everything's getting paid at the beginning, and then the rest of the month you're just trying to, you know what I'm saying, manage your money based off your gas and your groceries. So I started teaching at the other school, and as soon as I started teaching, COVID hits. And this is why I think my experience through COVID was just different, I guess, from others. Cause man, okay, I had started teaching at one school, and I lived 15 minutes within my commute with traffic to that school. 15 minutes. When I switched schools, my commute was an hour or plus more. So I'm putting 2 hours every day. So 2 times 5, 10 hours of my life is just being committed to just driving back and forth. And boy, that thing had me in a different mind space because it was on some. You gotta. It was so. The science behind this still can't what you call it. But if I left after 6 o'clock, oh, I was late. I wasn't getting to school before 7. I had to leave before 6 o'clock to get to school on time. At least before 7. So when COVID hit and I didn't have to make that drive, now, other things though. That's when I got Bailey. Hey, babe. She just tried to duck off. Babe. I'll show you. That's when I got Bailey. And nobody kind of really knew how to finagle or work through that. So, yeah, I was trying to whatchamacallit, but at the same time, so that time though, I spent a lot of time training Bailey and my dog. Once it hit, what I think they official day was like March 12th or something like that. From March to the end of the year, and then the summer, just me and Babe. But I think I did. I ended up moving that summer, and I moved closer to the school I was teaching at. And then that next year, uh, remember, students had a choice about coming to school or whether they want to do school in school or online. So then you got a couple years of that. But I was grateful because classroom management is a big part of teaching, and I didn't have to worry about classroom management because the class sizes were like 6, 7, 12, or something like that. Way easier to manage than 18 to 20, whatever, 18 to 30. Managing 7 to 12, got that. That ain't about nothing. Because then it's also, if it's just 7 to 12, you doing certain things, or whether you are or not, like those things start to get really highlighted in a small group situation. So a couple years of that, it was smooth. And then my last year teaching was the first year it was like everybody back. Everybody back. Freshman through senior, everybody in school. Ain't no online school. And so my 7 year, I think is seventh was a tough year, just a tough year emotionally. Because February I published my book, and then March, every year, every month, it was I started to give more to my creativity. I started giving, and this was one joint I watched, and it was like pay attention to the things that you neglect. And I'll be honest, I had started to neglect teaching. I had started to really neglect teaching, and I was focused on more of whatever I was wearing. Not even in a. I'm talking about in the sense of like I started wearing. I guess you can call them a turban, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. But I started wearing the head wraps, and putting on different stuff and dressing that way. I started focusing on my acting and movie directing, and that's what you kind of see. So, but teaching taught me, you know, how to develop and kindle relationships with people. Teaching taught me, you know, what I'm saying, had me doing my videos and animating and stuff. But also the other thing is, if you look at, even if you go to that Weebly website, Babe, Bailey, come here. Bailey. People used to walk into my class and they didn't know. They'd be like, what subject you teach? I would say, look around. What subject you think I teach? And they would say, art. They thought I taught art because at the end of every unit, this is how I kick it to my students. Yeah, there's this test, and I know you may not be a very good test taker, But that means you better do your darnest to do well on this project. And I'm telling you what I'm about to grade it on. It has a rubric. I need you to just try your best. You ain't gotta be creative. You ain't gotta be super articulate in third. Go print some pictures off. You know how to color. Just, you know what I'm saying? Give me a nice project, solving a problem, showing me you know this topic. And I had students painting on T-shirts, solving problems painting on T-shirts, put it on a poster. I had one student who actually made an animation video who told me how to animate. Well, he just told me what to do to animate, but still. Right now, I still have some of their art, some of their math projects. I still have T-shirts and posters that they made. I can show those off. That might be a funny, that, not a funny, but that might be a segment. It's gonna take some work to dig through that to get the stuff out. But I can come over here and show you the stuff that we used to do. Where again, it's on the Weebly website though, but still have a whole lot. Here's math projects I used to do in school. I used to have my students do. But from all the stuff that I even just mentioned, and that's not even stuff I didn't mention, right? What has that prepared me to do? What has it prepared me to do? Bailey! 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 I didn't move so like she must be good. Oh, she right here. Because that was that. Mind you, how much I was running and teaching. Outside of that though, other things that did happen. So I had started doing pop-ups. And my first pop-up, I don't sell nothing. I got my jackets there, and I got my art. One dude look at me. He was at a fashion boutique. Nobody, the only person who probably really saw was on was this dude who was selling like little juices or something. I forget what the juice. It's some type of juice. Some I don't know. He was selling some. If you go to the Jamaican shop, there's a red juice and there's a yellow joint. He was selling something like that. Nobody really saw no art. But one dude looked at me and he said, "Bro, I just be playing this Endeavor room, but you really nice at this, pro. Don't be discouraged by what happened in this Endeavor room. You need to, you know what I'm saying, stick with this." The next time, I don't know when I was able to do a pop up at the mall, and that's when I sold out. I did the pop up at the mall, and yeah, I started doing a little pop up. I started doing more of those. The best one was when I did it at the mall. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I still appreciate the people who showed up to there, who showed, you know what I'm saying, who came through, bought some, or just showed up and just helped me While I go, just brought like, yo, you need something to drink, need some food, we'll get that for you while you running your shop, or I'll run the shop while you go do it. That, bro, that was cool. So that's why I feel like life has prepared me to run my own business. Life has prepared me to run my own business. That's why I be doing like these little pop-ups now. I did it on my birthday week. I opened the graffiti journal. I was so serious. I changed my YouTube to the graffiti journal. I changed the handle to the graffiti journal. That's my life goal. I should be running a business. So I've set myself up to do just that, to sell t-shirts and books, mobily. But it's so much. There's so much that I don't know, I think that's just a part of it, man. I think that's just a part of it. And then I put the time into this. You know what I'm saying? I put the time into the YouTube channel. And, bruh, we about to have 1,000 videos. And that's just something I'd be looking at other people's side too. I was like, yo, people who already monetize, and you know what I'm saying? Because you got, everybody's track different. And so, I don't know, man. Because it's like, I don't want to shun nobody for nothing that they doing. And I want to encourage everybody to whatever path they on to, you know what I'm saying, stay on it. But be the best creative version of yourself. So even if it's the people doing, yes, man, okay, I'm cleaning up. That's why I was like, man, we're gonna work on this some more tomorrow. I'm gonna work on this some more tomorrow. I gotta clean up. So that was my late night fireside chat. I gotta figure out how to really, because it's a lot of stuff, like high key. I could have bought some firewood, but I wouldn't have had nothing to smoke. So, I don't know. All I know is I got visuals to edit, so look out for some more visuals. I have the lows. We smoked the lows today. That visual to edit. I came back smoking with each of the jackets. We got that visual to edit. Some other stuff I was just posting just so I could delete it off my phone. But more visuals.